Hey guys, it's Steph from the Hot Moon Podcast, and in my mind, I have no doubt that Shedeur Sanders will do fine in Cleveland. Okay, look, I don't think he'll get cut from the team. I think he's already made an impact. Okay, you hear nothing but good things about Shedeur Sanders since he's been in Cleveland, and how he's been with his teammates, within the organization, and within the community, and within the community, with the community. Excuse me. And I know. People had issue with ownership, wanting to go ahead and select them as opposed to the general managers wanting to pick somebody else after they have already gotten Dylan Gabriel. Okay, and I've moved on of why Shedeur Sanders had fell. I think it's just it's an opportunity for him to change the narrative that was already put out there about him during the whole pre-draft process. Okay, whether I feel it was justified or unjustly, I personally think it was unjustified. Just all the things, the negative things about him not being prepared, and not knowing plays, or his whiteboarding didn't go well, and him wearing headphones. So the son of Deion Sanders to go into a meeting, I find it, me personally, found it hard to believe. Okay, but far be it from me to deny reporters who or team scouts who actually said that he did these things. They said they were in the meetings and they saw those things. So be it. I just find it hard to believe. But Coach Prime spoke about this a few days ago. Okay. And this is the first time I really heard him go in it like this. He was on the Asante Samuel's podcast. I'm not gonna play the video. I'm just gonna just gonna read a snippet of what Deion had to say about all this, man. So. This is what Deion had to say. He said, when you sit up there and say something like he went into a meeting unprepared, like, dude, Deion said, Shedeur Sanders, who has had 6 different coordinators who still function and went up, leveled up every time we brought somebody new in, and you're going to tell me he was unprepared. You're going to tell me he had on headphones. Anybody who knows my son understands professionalism, understand he's a professional. He's going to go into a meeting with headphones on, y'all? Come on now. Exactly. And that was my whole thing, man. I'm just thinking like, yo, what I just felt like this whole thing with the draft was sabotage. You know what I'm saying? I just felt like they sabotaged him. My theory is they definitely want to keep him because, well, not my theory, but I've heard of people make this, but it made sense. Though. It's like, you everybody, the whole world was watching specifically where Shedeur was going to go. Okay, if Shedeur Sanders was drafted in the first round, I don't think a lot of casual NFL fans would have stuck around and watched that draft. So you have all that going on, and then just the crazy reporting, just like he went from, being, in like talks of the Heisman, and then he wins the the Johnny Unitas Award, whatever. People try to downplay that, but nonetheless, he won the award. They win 9 games. All accounts projected to go very high, and then and then all of a sudden the narrative shift. It just shifted all of a sudden, and again, it makes it seem like were they really after Deion, right? Because when they didn't like when Deion, even last season, in the year prior, it was like he wanted to have more, he wanted to have saying where his son was gonna go. There was all these things, but that Deion has said that people maybe the NFL didn't like, and they probably used Shedeur Sanders as the proverbial whipping boy. Unfortunately, bad term, but that's what it seemed like. They want to punish him to get back at Deion. I have no idea why, but that's what happened though. That's what it felt like. What happened, and then you see how Shedeur Sanders has been conducting himself in Cleveland. It doesn't seem like it's all an act. It really doesn't. He came in there just chilling, being himself, being respectful to the media, being respectful to his teammates, engaged. He hasn't done anything to make it about himself. They try to get on him about some car that apparently is saying he bought or whatever. And he has to go on, Shedeur Sanders has to go on an X and say that no, he didn't buy a car. You know what I'm saying? Like, Shedeur Sanders has handled himself beautifully, right? You can't teach that. You can't teach that overnight, how he's conducting himself in Cleveland. You can't. He can't just go from being arrogant and cocky like that, from what they're saying, and brash, right, to how he's been conducting himself in Cleveland and how he's handling it. That's like in a matter of weeks. Come on now, guys. Let's be real. Very well media trained, professional, Coach Prime said. I get it. If you don't like Shedeur Sanders because you just don't like him for whatever reason, that's fine. But to buy into to the things that were said about him, I had a hard time buying into that. You know, if you really don't like him for him holding up the watch flash, that's the only knock. You know, crazy, man. So I'm glad Coach Prime spoke up about this recently. You know, maybe he's spoken up before, but it's the first time I really heard him like really just kind of share his frustrations with the NFL. But we know how the NFL operates, man. You know, the NFL is a good old boy system. Okay, if they want to freeze you out, they'll freeze you out. We've had many players. I'm not gonna name any, but there's been many players that, you know, if the NFL doesn't like you, they will say things about you and make sure that you get bucked by them. But glad for Coach Prime to speak up and hope Shedeur Sanders thrives. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this, man. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe. I'm out.